ਸਤਨਾਮ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ। ਇੱਕ ਓੰਕਾਰ ਸਤਨਾਮ ਕਰਤਾ ਪੁਰਖ ਨਿਰਭਉ ਨਿਰਵੈਰ ਅਕਾਲ ਮੂਰਤ ਆਜੂਨੀ ਸੈਭੰ ਗੁਰ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦ ਜਪ ਆਦ ਸਚ ਜੁਗਾਦ ਸਚ ਹੈ ਭੀ ਸਚ ਨਾਨਕ ਹੋਸੀ ਭੀ ਸਚ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। So in the last class Maharaj explained us that how the physical body is formed. So initially it's the causal body that causes the subtle body, and then it takes the form of the physical body. And why does that happen? Based on the desires. So to experience the past actions. So Sikh says to Guru Sahib that Maharaj, I have understood about the causal body that you have explained and the subtle body. But please explain how the physical body is being created. So Guru Sahib explained further, the 5 elements have formed the whole sansar, the whole world is formed from those 5 elements, which is space, air, fire, water, and earth. Then these further take the form of 25 elements. To experience the consequences of action, both sukh and dukh, the subtle body takes the form of the physical body. So, for example, if someone has the desire of gaining wisdom or doing Nam Simran, then the environment is created in such a way that either they will take birth in a Gursikh family or where there is Nam, or the circumstance will be in the more favorable condition. Some, those if have any desire of Maya or material world, then they are born in the similar environment, where either the family is more into the material world or they just talk about that. So Sikh here does benti to Guru Sahib that please explain deeply and thoroughly that how the 5 elements took the form of 25. How did they become 25? So Guru explains that the nature of earth element is rigid and that of water is liquidity. So they go in depth explaining about each element, about their nature. The fire element creates heat, and the emptiness is the space. And whenever there is any movement in the space, that is air. So if there is the emptiness space and there's whatever the movement is happening, that is the air. Now, in order to understand 25, one element is further divided into 1/5 part. Each element has its first part, like the Shuddh Sarup itself, for instance, the earth, one element, and then it's further divided into 4 parts. And the first part is the main element itself. And when the remaining 4 parts are mixed with another element, another part of the other element, such as fire, then the first element, then it's called, like, for instance, when they collaborate. So there is one element, each part, and then when they divide further, 4 parts of that. So that's how the 25, the number arrives from that. So the main part is 1/5, which is kept separate, which is the pure form. And that's not collaborated with any. The remaining 4th part, when mixed with each other, that's equal to 20. and then plus the initial 5 elements, it's 25. Now Maharaj here explains in a table, which I will eventually translate into English. So the bones, including the teeth, flesh, skin, hair, and veins, are formed from the earth element. And the bone itself is the pure form. Then the remaining 4 are formed when combining with the other 4 elements. So when earth is combined with water, it forms flesh. When earth combined with one part of the fire, veins are formed. In same way, earth, when it's combined with one part of air, skin is formed. First element, earth, with one component of space, hair is formed. And semen, heat, sweat, saliva, and blood are formed from the water elements. The initial fire elements creates the hunger. When fire combined with other elements, it forms thirst, the glow on the face, sleep, and laziness. Running, jumping, walking, contraction, and the expansion is due to the air element. And this is in the form of contraction and expansion, like when the heart pumps as well. So running is due to the pure form of air. Head, throat, stomach, chest, and waist, they are formed from the space element. And the main one is said to be the head. The remaining are formed when combined with the other elements. So this is how Kaviji explains the 5 elements, that when it's separated into the further 25, that's how they are formed. So if we refer back to this, well, so if we refer to here, we can go through this, the water. So there is the main component of water, and when it comes in its true form, it's the semen. That's its original form. But when it comes in the contact or combined, it gets mixed with the earth element, then the blood is formed, or same as the tears. When the water element gets mixed up with the first part, one part of the fire element, then the heat is formed. Same way, water element combining with air, sweat is formed. Water element, when it comes in contact with the space, saliva is formed. So if there is no space in the mouth, there won't be any drooling. That happens because of the space element. And when fire, same way, comes in contact with the earth, that is laziness. But the fire itself, in its true form, is the hunger. So how to understand this? When we feel hungry, actually it's the fire that's causing the hunger. You're not feeling hungry because this is a question to ask, because you're not that element itself. You're the one who knows that hunger is happening. But when we consume food, it's because of the fire in the stomach that's asking for because food. So Maharaj here next explains the air. That's why same way, because of the air, we feel thirsty. So when we are running as well, that's why we feel more thirsty, because of that air component. And the throat becomes dry, So we need to drink water to quench that thirst. Sleep is due to the fire and space element. So here again, with all the combination of that, the space is considered as like the head is considered as the Shuddh Sarup of space. But actually the mind is everywhere. It's not just in the head. But because the main spot of like space element is in the head, that's why we feel it as if it's there. And the thoughts are occurring in that level of space. So if we see the diagram again, because of the air, the running is because of the true sarup of the air. And when it comes in contact with the other elements, the expansion or contraction occurs. Even with the next element, space. So like the waist, our waist, or the womb, hirda, the chest, the heart region, throat, and the head. So this is Maharaj explaining in the way how these elements, I think the word would be the beautifully how they combine with each other to create the whole creation. So Maharaj explains in an example that just like imagine a man, like one guy shares his turban with the second person, like he gives to someone else. And that second person gives the same turban to the third one, and the third person gives it to the fourth one, and eventually the fourth person again gives it back to the first one. So this is how Maharaj describes that in the same way, the five elements, they share and they get combined together. Maharaj says that I have explained this with very in depth, with deep contemplation. And this is how the jeev takes form of the physical body to experience the sansar. So Guru says that as we have discussed the causal body, the subtle body, and the physical body, next we will discuss five types of kosh. In English, it's called sheaths. And the whole point of this understanding is that what the things we feel in this body actually is because of how these elements play along. And the question to wonder is, who am I here? Who tells you that I'm feeling hungry? Or I'm feeling thirsty? Or I'm tired? Because Atma doesn't get tired. Atma doesn't feel hunger or thirst. So it's these elements. Atma itself is the one that actually feeds these elements. So we would discuss the next in next class, the rest of this, so we can do more vichar about it. ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ